Hi there, this is Chris with Peace of Mind Art and Crafts, and today we're going to do a little tutorial on how to make a little folio out of some cards. Now you can use any kind of card that you might have. I'm going to use cards that I actually made, some of my cards that I sell in my shows and on Etsy and so on. I make these cards that have, let me show you a couple of them that I'm probably going to use to make these folios out of. This happens to be a Christmas card. And what I do is I make my cards, and then most of the time I then will actually sew them or quilt them. I do like a free motion quilting stitch on them, which you can see on here. You can see a little bit better on the back where the stitches actually are. And I do that after I complete the card, and it kind of sews down. I glue down the different areas of the card first, and then on this one, for example, I used a vintage handkerchief. I cut a piece of handkerchief and glued that down, and then I glued down the little paper dolls from Tim Holtz. And I almost always put a sentiment on the front of my cards, and on the inside it's blank. And then sometimes I put a ribbon on the side, or if the card is horizontal like this, then I'll put it at the top. And then I sometimes will put a charm on there, or other things, flowers or different other things on the front of the card. But I thought this would make a nice little either a cover for a journal or a folio. So I'm going to show you how to make a folio today. And here's one that I have already turned into the folio. I'll show you that. I started off with the card where quilter has a little thimble charm, little bee, and then I found this fabric that looks like it's sewn into a quilt. Kind of different homespun looking fabrics. And then I already had made this card, but you can make the card from scratch and then make the folio right away. On the inside, I made two pockets and I glued them on. I used a little, I don't know if you guys have seen these or not yet, but Sharpie just came out with these new pens or they're even thinner than the thinnest Sharpie. They're called a roller pen, and it works like a regular Sharpie in that if you add water or anything that has moisture on top of it, it doesn't smear. So they work really nice for especially fine lines. It's the Sharpie roller. I don't know if they come in colors or not, but this is the ones that I bought, and they weren't too expensive. I think they came in a 2-pack for like $3 or $4. So that's what I used to make the little stitching lines around. You could, if you wanted to, you could actually quilt on these pockets before you would glue them down. So then we had the little pockets, and I had made some little cards out of digitals that I got from, I've been making sewing books, and I just made 7 new sewing books. And some of them I have in my Etsy shop. If any of you have been waiting for me to put more sewing books in my Etsy shop, you'll find them there. Actually, one of them sold, but I think I still have about 4 sewing books in my shop. And this digital that I got, that I used in a lot of the sewing books, it was like a vintage sewing stuff. And here's 2 examples of it. Little cards that I made, and it's Lianascrap. oh, excuse me, Lianascrap, Lianascrap, and she's on Etsy. Lianascrap on Etsy. Let me see if I can get that in focus. I don't know. There it is. Lianascrap Etsy. Okay, and I'll try to remember to put that in the description box below. But so what I did was I created the pockets so that I have a place to put, you know, various, whatever you want to add to your folio. And basically a folio is just like a journal that opens, and it can either have journal pages inserted in the middle or not. Just a place to keep like memorabilia, or you might want to make it have several pages, and you can do that by adding another card to the back and gluing that down. And then when you open it up, you'd have another set of pages yet, and you could put more pockets on here for more, maybe keep your ephemera in, something like that. And then I just added to this one, I just added a needle book and a piece of paper that I inked around so that you could have a writing space in your folio for notes. I happen to have one of these little magnets left that has quilt on the front, so I included that in this little folio. So that's one that's finished. Like I said, unless I wanted to add more pages to it, then I could also do that. I'm going to show you how to make one that has a slow stitch card. I'm going to actually make the card first, and then we'll make the inside of the folio. And I think I'm going to put an envelope on the back of this one this time. Okay, so let's start out with the front of the card. I've already cut some of the front of it so that we can kind of go a little bit faster along on this. Make sure it opens correctly. So every once in a while I have done a card where I've decorated it, and then I get to finishing it, and I look and it opens the wrong way, so it's upside down. So I always make sure that I have it go in the correct way. It's opening the correct way. Okay, so I'm going to use my, I'm gluing paper, so I'm going to use my art glitter glue, which I have in this little bottle that squeezes out in a really thin line. I bought these bottles, I believe, at Hobby Lobby, and they came like 3 in a pack. It comes out in a nice thin line. I really like it. If you do have any trouble having it come out, you can always add a little bit of water to it and shake it up, and that will thin it down a little, but don't thin it down too much. Just enough so that it flows out like you want it. Okay, and I have inked around these pieces already, these couple of pieces here. So I'm going to glue that down. And then this was scrapbooking paper. This is digital paper. And I don't remember where that came from. I know that I bought it from somebody's Etsy shop, but I'm not sure who. It's like a bunch of lacy designs that you can use as background. Okay, I'm going to glue that one down. Now, what can you use these little folios for? Like I said, they'd be a great place to keep notes. You could put photographs in them. You know, really basically anything you use a journal for. You could even put pages in them, and then that'll be partially a little journal. But if you have, like, for example, maybe you have a greeting card that you really like that you got from somebody and you want to keep it, that would be a good good item to use as the front of your card, and then when you open it up, then you can have some pockets and then maybe some place for some photographs. That would be really nice. And a good way to keep a greeting card that you really liked. Okay, now I did do this slow stitch heart, which I am going to place on the front. And I'm not going to make a pocket in this one. Sometimes I back my slow stitched hearts with paper, and the ones that the slow stitch hearts that I have available on my Etsy shop already come with a backing of muslin, so that you can just if you wanted to use them on a card, you could just glue them down to the card and leave them open at the top so that you'd have a pocket. Okay, same for the cover of a journal. Maybe if you're making either a paper cover or a fabric cover. Excuse me, I need a drink. Okay, I'm going to glue that down since it is fabric. I'm going to use the fabric tack. And like I said, I'm going to glue it all around. I do need to kind of mark where I want this to go. So I'm going to, let's see. I think I'll just make a mark here down at the bottom. Like a little V with my pencil. Okay, and there's no need for me to cover the back of this. If you were going to see the back, then I would cover it with either paper or fabric. Okay. And I want to get that just over that, so it covers over that pencil mark that I made. And then I can press it down. Okay. I'm not sure yet what else I'm going to put on this card. I did ink around everything, and I inked around the back as well, and the inside. I think I do want to put a sentiment on there. I'm not sure what. Have you guys got any ideas? Leave me an idea in the comment about what you think might be a good sentiment for this card. Okay, then on the inside I'm going to put a couple pockets. And I've already cut this paper to fit. I think I'm going to have the flowers go to the outside like that. And I do want to cut a couple of thumb holes in here. It makes it easy to get things in and out of the pockets. And I use my I'm using my 1.5 inch circle punch. You can basically use any size circle punch that you have. 1 inch would work just fine too. And then I eyeball mine. You can, if you want, you can measure the distance, but I almost always eyeball mine. Okay, got those little notches cut, and I want to do a bit of inking around here. I'm using my walnut stain just because I happen to pull out the walnut stain today. So around the edges. This really helps, especially at the when you put the pocket on, so it helps you to see that little thumb hole a little bit better. Helps it show up a little better. And you don't have to do any of this inking. Now, if you were going to do any writing on here with the Sharpie pen that I just showed you, for example, if you wanted to do stitching lines, I would do it before I glued this down to here. Or if you were going to do any stamping, like I stamped the butterfly and the bird on there, on that other one, you do it before you, because it just makes it easier to get through just that one thickness than you know, this might be uneven or whatever. So, okay, so I'll glue this down with the Art Glitter glue. And as always, I hold the side I'm not going to glue in my fingers. And then I know where the rest of the glue is going to go. In this case, it wouldn't be as hard because you have that notch on the top, but I still do it this way so I don't get glue on my fingers. I hope you are all doing all right these days. Getting into fall here. Tomorrow's the first day of fall. So that's nice. I think the weather's starting to finally reflect. We've had so many days of 90. And I'm not complaining about 90. I do like it. I do like the summer. Summer is my favorite time of year, actually. But I don't like it quite that hot all summer long. And as usual, since I'm recording, I'm having a problem with the nozzle on here. Okay. And I try to place it about the same distance from the sides. It's best to leave the middle part with at least probably an eighth to a quarter. Here is probably more like a quarter, but at least an eighth inch on that inside line in case you decide to put any pages in there now or later. Excuse me. And I would put the pockets in first before you put the pages in. Okay. And try to get this one on the same way. Okay, now it's ready for me to decorate up a little bit more, however I want to do it. And then make some ephemera to put in here. But basically it's ready. And let's go ahead, and I do want to have an envelope on the back, I think, and because this needs to, the envelope is always bigger than the card, and so I can either cut the envelope down, but that would mean I'd have to glue it, because I'd have to take off on both sides so that the flap would be even, and I'd have to recut the flap. I really don't want to do that, so I'm going to just glue it to the back, leaving a little edge all the way around except for the fold. I don't want to have anything in the fold. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to decide whether I want my flap to open this way or whether I want to open the other way. Another way I could do it if I wanted a flap on the front of the card, would be to glue it this way, and then I'd have I could have the flap cover over the front, and of course I have to make the design so it went over there like that, or it could come in cover the inside here. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I will have it covered the inside here. Or another way I could do it is I could put the flap on the back so that it opens on the back, and then I could put some things into the back and have like a little closure here. So, but I think for purposes of this video, I think I will glue it this way. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to glue it all around the sides, and I'm going to glue it up here as well, just that way I'll just have one pocket. Okay. And let's see, which way do I want it? I think I want it this way. So I'm going to have it go all the way to the edge, to the folded edge. Then I'm going to try to get it so that it's halfway, so it's got the same amount peeking out of the top and the bottom. And you have to do it kind of fast because it dries very quickly. So this does not bother me having the a little bit extending on the sides there, and I could even decorate that if I wanted to. So I'll put my cap back on here. So that's what I had to show you today. I hope that you take this idea and see what you can create with it. And like I said, send me an idea if you have any ideas on what I should, if anything, a sentiment or something else on here. I think it needs a little bit more, and I also will probably decorate a little bit in here. I think I'm going to use this for a place to keep ephemera. Maybe some fussy cut things that I have. Like I made, where's that one? Oh, this one. Remember when we made this one? To hold the fussy cut items. Gail Augustinelli showed how to do this on her channel. And I also did a video on it. Okay, so I thank you for joining me today. I wish you all peace of mind. Bye now.